All right. A reader had a question about McBride well, the MRO McBride well that came off confidential this past week. So I was going to try and write my usual note. It gets a little complicated, so I'm going to try and see what happens if I do a video. It's going to be sloppy, going to be not very professional, but let's see what happens. So this was the post. This was, let's see, what's the date? This is a long post. This was back on, let's see, back yesterday, April 1st. Okay, so down here at the end, it was stated right here that Marathon reported 2 ducks. One was McBride, and a reader was very clever. He looked at it. I didn't even catch it. The reader caught it. The reader caught the fact that, and here's his question. So out of curiosity, why the huge spacing in an area with proven wells? Inquiring minds want to know. What he was looking at was the McBride well. The McBride well had a drilling unit of 6 sections, 38, 40 acres. So there's nothing unusual about this. Not one thing. We're going to see a lot of this, a lot more of this. And the oil company's going to save a lot of money. They're going to get a lot of oil. This is a big deal. But it's simple. It's been going on for quite some time. In the Bakken, the standard spacing unit is now 1,280 acres. That's 2 sections, 640 acres there, 640 acres there. And that's been that for years. Early on, the spacing unit might have been 640 acres, 640 acres, 1 section, but it quickly went to 1,280, 2 sections. The drillers drill down about 9,000, 10,000 feet vertically, then turn horizontally and drill 2 miles, 1 mile in this section, and then 1 mile in this section. But because of concerns about a horizontal well draining oil from adjoining sections, they had to have an offset. They couldn't, and usually, I think the offset was generally about 500 feet, which is interesting because I think a frac goes out 500 feet radially, and you can argue maybe even out to 1,000 feet, but let's keep it at 500 feet. So the setback, the horizontal had to stay 500 feet away from the section lines. So then, if you go to a standard Bakken unit, 1,280 acres or 2 sections, this is what you're now seeing. In the old days, they just did one well to claim the property, as it were. And once they got that one well in, it was producing, they held the lease on that. It's called holding the lease by production. So anyway, now that things are slowed down from the boom years, they'll put in these 6 well pads, or 12 well, or 10 well, whatever, multi-well pads. Standard though, very common, we see a lot of 6 well pads. And the 6 well pad might include the original well, and it may or may not. In the case of the McBride well was right here. This was the McBride well. The McBride well was right here. And there were, as I said, there were 6 wells on that pad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll come back on this, let's see, so we don't get confused. Again, this was a standard 640, 2 section, 1280 drilling unit, okay? Now, what is being very common, the oil companies have now gone to 3 section or 3 miles drilling horizontal. So this was the McBride in this case, and the McBride went down this section, and this section. So it went 3 sections long. Nothing unusual about that. Lynn Helms said this was going to start, he started talking about this maybe 2 years ago, but he said that we were going to see a lot of longer horizontals. These are extremely efficient, and really, I don't think they're any more costly than much more costly than a 2 section. The drilling time is no longer an issue. They can drill a 3 section horizontal well, vertical plus the horizontal, in about the same time they do a 2. So the drilling time, the cost of drilling the well is going to come out almost the same. You can debate that, argue that, but that's how I see it. What costs more is you go from fracking 1 section and 2 sections up to fracking 3 sections. But if you want to save money, you could do a small fraction, a small frac, and use the same amount of proppant, same amount of sand, same amount of water in a 3-section as you did in a 2-section frac. And you can get away with that because the fracs are getting so much better. Now the companies aren't doing that. They're still doing high volume fracs, and so it will cost them more in the frac. But again, the only real additional cost going from a 2-section horizontal to a 3-section is that extra frac cost, which I think they can control very nicely. So now, getting back to McBride. In the old days, as I said, the standard was 1280, and if McBride had the standard 1280 drilling unit, it would have gone just this section and this section. But in fact, it went 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the McBride went 1, 2, 3. Now, if it was in the 3-section drilling unit, it'd be 3 times 640, which is 3, 12, carry the 1, 19, 928, and we're seeing a lot of those also. In fact, on this one, where the McBride is, you're gonna find this one, this one, this one, this one are all 1920, are all 1920 acre drilling units. This McBride and this one, oh, by the way, they are both, I'll show you, where's my little cheat sheet? They're both 38, 40 acres, which is double 1920. Well, how'd that happen? Well, as I said earlier, the companies can, because of concern about draining oil from a adjacent section, the companies have to have an offset. They have to put wells at least 500 feet away from the section line, any of the section lines. So to get by that, they then got permission to drill what were called section line wells. So the McBride is a section line well, and this well is the Irby well, if I remember correctly. That's also a section line well. And so they go down, 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 and so they collect, I don't know if I got a cheat sheet on that or not, but let's see if, yes I do, there it is. So now this McBride well here, and then of course the Irby well over here, but the McBride well that goes down this section line will drain from this section, da, 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 6 times 640, that's 3840 acres. So this is just a standard horizontal Bakken well we're gonna see more of. It is nothing unusual, nothing remarkable, nothing to get excited about. They are just going to do a much better job of 2 things. One, of drilling a well almost for the same cost, but getting 3 sections. But more importantly, they're getting this oil here that they otherwise would not have gotten. This is what is called orphaned well. Orphaned well. This is well that would historically have been left behind because the other wells have to be offset from the section line, and they couldn't get this oil in this area. So now by drilling a section line well, you then end up with being allowed to drill drain oil from this section and this section, both sides. So this is so standard, it's not even something to get excited about. It's so normal. We're gonna see a lot more of that. Very efficient for everybody involved. Capture all that orphaned oil, and that explains it. That's the end of that story. But as long as I'm on a roll here, a couple other things, and I think I said that. Let me see if I can find my most recent post. Let's see. I don't know if oh yeah, I know I already did that. Okay, so my most recent post. This is the 6-well pad. I'm going to be talking about, the reader had a question about this one, and I said that this page is in progress. In addition to the reader's question, which we just did, there's a couple other observations. The first observation is there were two section line wells in this drilling unit. And well, they're actually different drilling units to be technical, but that's getting off to the side. But here they are. This is this line right here. This is 111th what was it, 111th Avenue or Street Southwest, and this is 1/10. Well, North Dakota, what they did along the section lines, the farmers put in roads. So so we have a road here along this section line, a road here along this section line, and those roads have now been numbered. Oh, this is 111th Avenue and this is 110th Avenue Southwest. So when they put these 6 wells in this pad, 4 of them went down the center of the drilling unit, and those would be a let's see, what were they, 1920, whatever. But then they have these section lines that go all the way over. Let the wells go and get 6 sections. So the middle wells had 3 sections, and the others had 6 sections. Let's see if I did that right up here. I might have to change it if I got that wrong. Let's go up here. Okay. So yes, so the section line wells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. Irby, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. And the horizontals went down the center of the section of the drilling unit. They are just 1920, 1, 2, 3 sections. And these would be on different drilling units. As I've said many times on the blog, each well stands alone. So this well is on a 3840 acre drilling unit. This well's on a different 3840 acres drilling unit. And these 4 are on the same 1920 acre drilling unit. All right, a second observation, this is really cool. Most companies, most operators in the Bakken name their well in such a way you can tell at a glance it is a section line well. Marathon, at least at this at least in these wells, did not do that. I've not looked at enough I don't remember how MR normally does it. But here, all they did was they called it the McBride 1122H. 22H, that's the section that it's cited in. It's cited in section 22H. 11 is a chronologic number. And here's a chronologic number of 41 down here. It's also cited in section 22, but it's the chronologic 41. I've talked about the chronologic numbers before on the blog, but I'm not going to talk about them now, and I really didn't address them a whole lot on the blog. But if I say what I'm thinking, I'll get too much pushback. It's just not worth it. So I think that's everything. We talked about the talked about everything I was going to talk about. The other interesting thing is that these 6 wells on this pad, the 6 wells right there, the 6 wells right there, they occupy that whole, they go all the way and they do the whole section. In a lot of cases where the Bakken is really prolific, they can get 6 wells on this half and 6 wells on this half, giving them a 12-well pad across that 1 mile. In fact, some places are getting more than 12 wells. Okay, I'm going to stop there. That should explain why there are so many sections involved in this McBride well. Okay, enough for now.